Welcome to building a basic data tracker with Google Tools. I'm your host, Sherry Hall from Teacher Tech Cafe. If you are new to Google, we're going to be using our Google Drive along with folders, forms, and sheets to create just a simple data tracker. Now we can get fancy and have it do a lot of things, but I just want to show you how easy it is to use this in your classroom to keep up with all of the things that you need to track about your students. We will start here in Google Drive, and depending on how you like to organize things, you may want to put all of this data tracking inside of a folder. I'll use my New button and create a folder for today. Once I have my folder in Drive, I can open that up and get started on building my data tracker. I'll use that New button again, go down to More, and over to Google Forms. What exactly can we track with a Google form? We could use this for accommodation tracking, modifications we're making for students, tardies, t-test goals, behaviors and the antecedents to those. Administrators, this is an easy tool to use for walkthroughs as well. The first thing that I want to do is give my form a title, and I will do an example of tracking accommodations on this form. This is the title that I see when I fill out the form, and if I share it with teachers, co-workers, they will see this as well. Up here in the top left where it says Untitled Form, if I go ahead and click that, this is how it is identified in my Drive, how I can locate it. Before we start, I'm going up to the Options menu here, otherwise known as the Skinny Snowman, down to Preferences, and I want to make sure that Make All Questions Required is checked. One of the few places I have to hit Save in Google. This allows Google to turn on and make all questions required. I can deselect and turn off those that I don't want to require myself to answer. I like it to default on though. First question I need to ask is, what student am I dealing with? Google says I want to type in the answer, but really I don't. I want to make this as easy and painless as possible to fill out. I either want multiple choice or a drop down. If I have just a few students, I can copy and paste right in from a spreadsheet and make a multiple choice question. Let's preview that with this I at the top. This is what it looks like when I go to fill out the form. I simply select a name and submit. Now let's look at what a drop-down menu looks like. If you have a lot of students, this is a better option. It doesn't take up as much space on your form. You hit choose and the list pops up and you select your student and you're able to submit. I am now ready to add my first tracking question. I'll go here to the right, hit the plus. It allows me to type in a new question. You can see I have added a list of possible accommodations. What I've done is gone through my IEPs, my 504s, and determined things that my students are using. I've got those listed here. I also want to add other. What that does is puts in a blank line for me to fill in something new that I'm trying. I currently have this as a multiple choice for the accommodations, and I want to change that to check boxes. Multiple choice is perfect for student name because it allows you to select only one. We want to be able to separate and track our kids on the spreadsheet individually. But accommodations, we may use a combination of things, and checkboxes allows you to pick more than one thing as an answer choice. I'm ready to add my next question, so I hit the plus button, and I want to know if this was successful. Google says yes, no, maybe. I can add those and I will make myself make a decision. Maybe is not an option. I'll add my last question, and this is going to be a notes section. Google changes it to paragraph. That's what I need, and I don't want to make this required. The others, I have marked them as required so that I have to fill out that information, and I may or may not need to add extra notes, but I do want a place to add those if needed. Now I need to set up my spreadsheet so that it can track my data. Here at the top of the form you see questions where we've been working and responses. Go ahead and click on responses and you see a green square. This is the icon for the spreadsheet. I want to click that spreadsheet icon and create a new spreadsheet. It names it for me. I hit create. You can see that it has the same title with the word responses in parentheses. It timestamps it, and there are my questions that I have asked myself on this tracker. Anytime that I fill out the form, it will timestamp it for me, give me the student name, and fill out the information that I've given myself to answer. I can click back on the questions tab, and at any time I can edit this form, and it will also edit the spreadsheet. Now, how do I use the form? I can't fill it out here. I can, however, use the preview button and fill out the form. Let's say that I'm working with Dom. He needed some peer assistance. We also gave him a timer. This was successful. Type in any extra notes that I need to make. Hit submit. You can see that it allows me to submit another response, which is what I need because I want to use this form repeatedly with tracking my students. Now we'll hop over to this accommodations spreadsheet, and you can see it filled in the information that I collected in my form. This is great, but how do I get back to the tracker once I've closed the tabs? Remember the folder that we made in Drive? I can open that up. There is my tracker as well as the spreadsheet side by side. At any time I can open this tracker and use the preview button to fill out the form. A lot of times though, I'm not carrying my computer around with me so that I can track data on the go. I want to be able to send a link to myself that I can use on my phone or my iPad as I move around the room. I'm going to use the send button, and I can email this to myself by putting in my email address. You would think that you want to check this box down here, include form and email, but in reality you don't. What you want Google to do is send you the link. You can also get that from clicking on the link up here and copying this URL to another device. I used the send button to email myself the form. Because I did not check the box that said include form and email, it shows me a button, fill out the form, here that I can click. And instead of answering it in the email, it takes me out to Safari or Chrome, whichever browser I use on my phone, and allows me to fill out the form there. Now this is a one-time thing. I don't want to have to go back to my email every time I need the form. So I'm going to use my send button down here. This is an iPhone. Going to send this off to my desktop, or to my home screen. I'll use the add to home screen button. It asks me what I want to call it. I can change the title if I want to. I hit the add button. And you can see that it's adding an icon to my desktop. I've done this demo before, and so I have a couple of those. Anytime now that I click on this icon, it automatically opens me up to my form. I can fill that out. Working with Dom again today. He's got some preferential seating. It was not successful. Type any notes that I need to, hit submit, and I'm ready to move on to the next table of students and hit submit another response, and it's ready to go again. Each time you use your form, it is sending that data to your spreadsheet. A couple of things you need to know. I am logged into my Google account here on my phone. Because I did not change the settings on my form to be allowed outside my school domain, Google is going to make me sign in each time I use it. I do stay signed into my Drive on my phone, so this is not a problem. If I ever have students using my phone, though, to take photos or something like that, I want to make sure that I'm logged out of my Google Drive. Just safety precautions, we've got to keep that data private. Also, because I am logged in, I do see a pencil here. If I have forms on my phone, I can actually make edits to my form by clicking that pencil icon. Because it recognizes me as the owner, it's allowing me to make edits if I need to. I generally do that on my computer, though. Let me show you another type of tracker. This one happens to be a tardy tracker. Simply, when the student comes in late, choose their name, type any notes if necessary. If not, hit submit. What that does is it timestamps it when the student walks in the door. You now have a spreadsheet that you can keep track of those tardies in seconds each day. Now let's talk about how we can use the spreadsheet in our Google Drive for meetings with parents or administrators. You can see that I have the timestamp, student name, and notes that my form collected. This is also an editable spreadsheet, so if I need to go in and make another note somewhere, such as called a parent, I can easily add that to the spreadsheet manually. If I want to take this data to a meeting, I may need to sort by student name, so I'll use the sort A to Z. And I can see Sally Brown has had quite a few tardies. I want to pull this data and take this to the meeting, but I don't want the other student names to appear, and I don't want to have to make a new sheet. With my name column selected, I'm going up to Data and create a filter. I now have a button here for a filter. I'm going to come down, and I have all of them checked at the moment. I'm going to clear and find Sally's name and put a check next to her and click OK. Now my form has only Sally's name. I can print this out and take it to a meeting. As soon as I'm done, I can go back to the Data tab, turn off the filter, and my sheet is back as it was. Thanks so much for joining me at Teacher Tech Cafe to learn how to make a simple data tracker. And God bless you for the lives you touch every day. Remember, subscribe to Teacher Tech Cafe for more tips, tricks, and tutorials.